fra Lyngby. Flykter så videre. Det dette angrepsspillet her.
Picture this. You are the manager of one of Europe's biggest football clubs. You have stars. You have resources. You have a squad built for the very biggest stages in world football. And then your Champions League draw is announced. And one of the names is Bodø Glimt. Someone on your staff smiles. Quietly, Norwegian side, they say, should be comfortable. 3 days later, after a connecting flight, a long layover, and a drive through Arctic scenery, your starting 11 are standing on a synthetic pitch somewhere above the Arctic Circle, wondering how exactly they ended up here. And by the time the final whistle blows, that confident smile from the pre-match press conference is long gone. This is the problem that Champions League teams didn't see coming. For anyone unfamiliar, let's quickly establish who we're actually talking about. Bodø Glimt, a professional football club from a coastal city of 50,000 people, situated above the Arctic Circle in northern Norway. For most of their history, they were a solid but unremarkable mid-table Norwegian club, known inside Scandinavia, unknown everywhere else. Then, something changed. Between 2020 and 2024, Bodø Glimt won 4 Norwegian league titles. In 5 years, playing fast, relentless, deeply organized football that felt like it belonged somewhere far warmer and far more famous. And as Norwegian champions, they entered European qualification repeatedly. Their most famous result came in the Conference League when they hosted Roma and won 6-1, 6-1, against Roma, at home, in the Arctic. Since that night, Bodø Glimt have been involved in Champions League qualification and European football on multiple occasions. And every single time, their opponents faced the same set of problems. Problems nobody warned them about. Let's start with the surface itself. Aspmyra Stadion, Bodø Glimt's home ground, has an artificial turf pitch. Synthetic fiber, not natural grass. And for the club, this makes perfect sense. Maintaining natural grass above the Arctic Circle through freezing winters is simply not practical. Artificial turf keeps the pitch functional and the club playing throughout the year. But for visiting Champions League sides, this creates a real problem. The vast majority of elite European footballers train and compete on natural grass, almost exclusively. Their movement patterns are built around it. Their muscle memory is calibrated to it. Artificial turf plays differently. The ball bounces higher than expected. It travels faster across the surface. Slide tackles carry different injury risks. And the physical toll on joints, particularly across 90 minutes of high-intensity football, is measurably greater. This isn't speculative. Players and managers across European football have spoken openly about the difficulty of adjusting to artificial surfaces, even with preparation time. And in the Champions League, where a single result in Bodø can define an entire campaign, this is not a small complication. It is a genuine competitive disadvantage built into the ground itself. Bodø Glimt have played every home match on this surface for years. They know every bounce, every awkward hop, every inch of it. For their opponents, it is unfamiliar territory. 90 minutes of unfamiliar territory. And in elite football, unfamiliarity is expensive. Now, let's talk about getting there. Because traveling to Bodø is not like traveling to Madrid, or Munich, or Amsterdam. Bodø sits above the Arctic Circle in northern Norway. There are no direct international flights from most major European cities. Getting there for a foreign squad typically means at least one connecting flight, often through Oslo, followed by a transfer, and then the final drive to the city itself. For a Champions League squad, that means a travel day that can stretch to 8, 9, sometimes 10 hours by the time every step is factored in. Now, top clubs have resources, charter jets, recovery specialists, sports science departments traveling with the squad. But no amount of resource completely eliminates the physical and mental toll of long, fragmented travel into a genuinely remote environment. And this matters most in a season where fixture congestion is already intense, where Champions League squads are managing domestic league commitments, cup competitions, and continental nights simultaneously. A trip to Bodø is not just a match. It is a logistical operation, one that quietly costs exactly the energy the visiting side needs most. And here is something I want to know. If you were a Champions League manager, how would you prepare your squad for a trip to the Arctic Circle? Leave your answer in the comments below. Genuinely, I want to know what you'd do. The journey is one thing. What awaits when you arrive is another. Because Bodø, above the Arctic Circle, experiences the midnight sun. In the summer months, the sun does not set. It stays bright through the night, well past midnight, and into the early hours. For visiting players trying to sleep, recover, and prepare mentally for a Champions League match, sleeping in what feels like permanent daylight disrupts everything. Sleep quality directly affects reaction time, decision-making speed, physical output. These are not secondary details. They are fundamental factors in a high-stakes European match that can turn on a single moment. And then, there is the cold. Particularly in the autumn, when Champions League qualifying rounds take place, Bodø's climate is significantly cooler than the city's most visiting clubs call home. Players from southern European clubs, trained in warm environments, can find the cold one more physical adjustment on top of everything else already working against them. Bodø Glimt train here, live here, are entirely at home here. This is their normal. For every visiting squad, it is alien territory before a single ball has been kicked. Now, let's talk about what happens once the match actually starts. Because beyond the surface, the travel, and the environment, Bodø Glimt present a genuine tactical problem that very few Champions League sides are truly ready for. Their system is built on relentless high pressing, an aggressive defensive line, fast, direct, vertical transitions, and collective movement that requires every player to be in exactly the right place at exactly the right moment. It is, in many ways, the opposite of what top Champions League sides face week to week in their domestic leagues. Most elite clubs, when drawing a Norwegian side in European competition, expect to control tempo, to dictate, to have time on the ball, to play through lines calmly, and build from the back. Against Bodø Glimt, that time never comes. The press is immediate, coordinated, relentless, and it does not ease for 90 minutes. Visiting players are forced to make decisions faster, play quicker, and operate at an intensity they did not prepare for at this specific level. The Roma 6-1 is the most famous example, but it is not an isolated incident. Across multiple European campaigns, Bodø Glimt have punished hesitation, poor positioning, and inadequate preparation with the same tactical blueprint every single time. And perhaps the deepest problem of all is not the turf, not the travel, not the Arctic conditions, not even the pressing. It is what happens inside the minds of players and managers before they ever set foot on that pitch. Because when a Champions League squad sees Bodø Glimt's name, the instinct, however professional, however disciplined, is to underestimate a Norwegian club from a city of 50,000 in a league most European footballers have never followed. The pull toward treating this as a comfortable fixture is almost impossible to resist. And that instinct is exactly what Bodø Glimt exploit. Because while the visiting squad might be mentally coasting toward what they expect to be a manageable result, Bodø Glimt arrive as if it is the most important night of their football lives. Because, for them, it is. Their players, their fans, their coaching staff, every single person connected to this club understands what this moment means. A Champions League giant coming to their Arctic home. This is everything. And that gap between a side treating a match as routine and a side treating it as history is one of the most dangerous gaps in all of football. Every club that has walked into Aspmyra without fully respecting that gap has paid for it, sometimes with a draw, sometimes with something far worse. Before we reach the conclusion, if you've been enjoying this, hit the like button. It costs nothing, and it genuinely helps more football fans find this channel. So, what have we actually learned? Bodø Glimt are not just a good story. They are a repeatable, consistent, multi-layered challenge for any Champions League side that walks in underprepared. The artificial turf that levels the playing field in ways most visiting teams never expect. The exhausting journey to one of Europe's most remote professional venues. The Arctic environment that disrupts sleep, preparation, and physical comfort. The relentless tactical press that suffocates even elite possession football. And the psychological trap of a club whose hunger will always exceed expectations. The clubs that respect every single one of these layers give themselves a chance. The ones that don't have the scorelines to prove it. And that is the serious problem that Champions League teams have, and not all of them have figured out yet. If you want more stories like this, more football analysis, more of the hidden forces that shape the game we love, subscribe to this channel. Every week, we go beyond the obvious to find what actually matters about modern football. And for this one, I want to hear from you. Which Champions League club do you think would struggle the most on a European night in Bodø? Leave your prediction in the comments below. I genuinely want to see what you think. Thank you for watching. This is Beyond 90 Minutes.